What is going on YouTube? It is your boy, Lord Master of Awesomeness here with another awesome video. So in today's video, guys, I want to let you know that tonight I promised you was the talent that AEW does not need any more video. And let's just get right to it because it's going to be a long video. The first few people are every single member of the factory. Aaron Solo's a jobber. Nick Camarato's a jobber. QT Marshall had like a couple good moments and then he just kind of faded out. And Anthony Ogogo basically was only on TV for his Cody Rhodes feud, and ever since then he's been related to AEW Dark. So they do not need them on the list anymore. The next two people, ironically, would be 2.0, Angelo Parker and Matt Menard. They're literally just so fucking annoying. There's no point of having them there except for the fact that Chris Jericho has lackeys for the Jericho Appreciation Society. They literally bring nothing to the table. The next person would be Angelico, which I feel like he is talented. He could be a great mid-card talent, but ever since Jack Evans left AEW, his TH2 tag team partner, he's been nothing more than literally AFO, like multi-person tag jobbing matches just so he could get a few wins underneath his belt. He's literally done nothing since then. Like I get AEW Dark is like you're at least doing something. Like he's doing absolutely nothing even on AEW Dark. So there's no point still having him here. Now this one is a bit recent, but my next pick is Ari Daivari. He's never gonna be anything big. He's not even gonna be a big mid-carder. He's literally just an upper-lower card talent who can get a win if he's against a jobber. That's literally all he's there for. So I'm gonna go with Ari Daivari to get released. Next two people would be Bear Country, Bear Boulder, and Bear Bronson. Other than like their Jurassic Express tag team match they had against like in like April of last year, they literally have done nothing of importance. Nothing of importance. So they're the next to go. Next would be Brandon Cutler, and the only reason is because he's never wrestling. He's only there to play the role of Young Bucks heel tactic guy. He's never there for wrestling. He's not bringing anything other than basically being the Young Bucks cameraman. So unless you're planning on just paying him for a manager type role and rather than a wrestling contract, I'm going with Brandon Cutler to get the hell out of here. Brian Cage would be next, and the only reason I say Brian Cage is because he has done, like, ever since he lost the FTW title, he hasn't even been on Dark that often. He's literally just a Ring of Honor guy now. Have him stay there if you're going to use him, or just get rid of him altogether. Now, this one was tough to decide because he's one of the best comedy characters and best just talents that a roster could have, Colt Cabana. Now, I don't know if it's because CM Punk's in AEW, for the time being at least, or, they just don't have anything for him. Colt Cabana has not done anything since, like, October of last year. He's had, like, one Ring of Honor win, so he's basically done little to no things other than develop the AEW games. So unless you're gonna pay him to be a game developer, I don't see any point of having him on the roster. Next would be another member of the Dark Order, Evil Uno. Now, in my opinion, I don't like Evil Uno is great. Like, I'm fine with watching him. To me, he just brings nothing to the table of the Dark Order. I'm not trying to say he's bad or anything. I'm just saying he hasn't done anything, especially since Stu Grayson left. The only time he's been on TV is to job in a 6-man tag. So, no point in having him stay. Next would be Darius Martin, and I get he's injured currently, but his brother Dante has gone on to find singles success, and I honestly think Dante Martin is going to be one of the future pillars of AEW. But it's because Darius is literally on the injured list so often. Like, he came back in what, July or something, and he had like 2 matches, and then he injured himself again. And he's been out with another like leg injury, I think, or something. So unless you want to keep him on the injured payroll for probably his whole AEW run, I would just let go of him now. The next would be Fuego del Sol, and the only reason I say him is because the Miro storyline, with him being the underdog and, eventually he got his AEW contract, that was a great storyline, except after the storyline ended, they did nothing with him. Obviously he's not going to be, Rey Mysterio type great, but you had a great underdog character that you could have used a lot on TV. And now he's been nothing. He's still jobbing at AEW Dark before he had the Miro storyline. So, my opinion, as much as I love Fuego, no point in having him. Next would be Mark Sterling's tag team of Josh Woods and Tony Nese, and only because if they want to be a tag team in AEW, they're not going to go very far. If they want to have singles success, maybe they'll get a TNT or All Atlantic title run, but that's like a rare occurrence. I don't see that happening for Josh Woods or Tony Nese. So in my opinion, just get rid of them, because I don't feel like they're going to do anything in the company. I may be wrong, but I think I'm right. Now, I know this one's going to be maybe a little controversial, but Kip Sabian and Penelope Ford, because to me it's just the fact of the only reason they are on TV is so they could lose. Like, Kip Sabian is now over. He's like over. He's like not even over anymore. He's over at being over. I don't see Kip doing anything major in the future, and I don't see Penelope doing anything major in the future. I don't think they're gonna ever win a title. So in my opinion, unless you want to put them on TV just to lose every week, just let them go. Next would be probably the most controversial on this list, Lance Archer. Now, in my opinion, I get he's also signed to New Japan. Either let him go fully to New Japan or bring him on TV in the world title scene, not just for him to lose, because that's all he's been doing ever since the TNT Championship loss to Cody. He had that kind of just pointless feud with Eddie Kingston, and ever since then, he's only been brought on TV just to have a world title match and lose. So, I don't see the point of keeping Lance Archer on the roster. Next would be Lee Johnson, and the only reason I say this is because even though he's had a couple of tag victories, like he had his first victory in AEW was the one with Cody, then he had the 6-man loss to the Factory, but in my opinion, he's done nothing important. Like, even when you put him in even though he's had a TNT title match, he's done nothing important in AEW. My opinion, no point in keeping him here. The next would be Chaos Project, and only because, number one, they're AEW's biggest jobbers that they have, and two, they've had more success in 6 months in DPW than they've had in 3 years in AEW. So I don't see the point of keeping them on the roster, just in general. Either Luther needs to do something and get the fans behind him, or he needs to retire. Serpentico is just a loser. Let's face the facts. He's just a loser, guys. He really is. His record in AEW is like 12 and like 115 or something like that. Like, he's a loser. So, in my opinion, Chaos Project, gotta go. Next would be Michael Nakazawa, and the reason why I say his name is because kind of the same as Brandon Cutler, unless you're gonna have him be like a good heel manager for Kenny Omega, I don't see the point of having him on the wrestling payroll. If you want to put him on the payroll as a coach, that's fine with me, but in my opinion, he doesn't bring anything to the table in AEW in terms of as like a wrestling perspective. He's not going to be anything special. So unless you want to have him be a coach or something, or a producer, I would say let him go. The next is going to be Paul White, and the reason why I say his name is because he is a commentator on AEW Dark Elevation every week, and I love hearing him on AEW Dark Elevation. He's doing a fantastic job, and he just can't do it in the ring anymore. He's just not exciting, in my opinion, and I don't think, like, apart from the QT squash, he has had 3 jobbing matches, which weren't even, like, good jobbing matches. They were just the jobbing match to get it out of the way jobbing match. So, keep him on the commentating table, I'd say, for the rest of his AEW contract, or if he really wants to get full time back into the ring, he's got to prove it. So I would say, unless you want to keep him on commentary, just let him go. Peter Avalon, the reason why I say his name is because, number one, his faction is a bunch of jobbers that don't even work for AEW. So there's no point in having them be on TV every week and all that stuff. And second of all, even when he got his wins in AEW, very few by the way, he's literally done nothing. He's barely ever gotten on television. The closest thing he's had to an AEW moment is when he like got in he had that dark match with Colt Cabana or something. There's no point in keeping him on the AEW roster. The next would be another new addition to AEW, Satnam Singh. Let's just face facts. He's gonna be the next Great Khali. He's gonna be terrible. He's gonna have no charisma, but they're gonna give him a title just cause they want to. Satnam Singh will literally be nothing in terms of a great professional wrestler. No point in keeping him. He's great as a manager for Jay Lethal. Like, I'll be honest at that. He's great at that role. But in terms of a wrestling aspect, even though he's barely done anything, in the amount that they want, like, you know how with the Giants they want to showcase, they're so big and strong. What did he do? A shoulder tackle and a crossbody, and then he called it a day? That's not proving yourself, man. So, let Satnam Singh go. Next would be Sean Dean. And come on, let's just face facts. He's only been on TV just to get a countout or disqualification win over MJF. His biggest AEW moment is beating MJF. Other than that, he's literally jobbed on Dark all the time. So he hasn't gotten like any meaningful wins. He's never been in a meaningful match. And even when he was in those matches with MJF, they were just to further the rivalry between CM Punk and MJF. So when he's done nothing important. So in my opinion, let him go. Next would be Shawn Spears, and because like the first year and a half until the Pinnacle broke up, Shawn Spears was doing great. He was having a hell of a run, but then nothing. He hasn't even been on Dark. Like, even if you're on Dark, you have something to do. No, he hasn't done anything. But I will give him a pass for now because him and Cassie Lee are about to have a baby soon. Congratulations on that. But in my opinion, if this were to continue even after, he's done, on paternity leave and everything, no point in having him stick around. Sonny Kiss would be next. He is, like, I love the fact that they wanted to, I feel like he was literally just a signing just so they could say, oh, hey, we give opportunities to even, like, LGBTQ people or people with disabilities or something. They give contracts to everybody. So, it might be, he hasn't done anything except for, like, his highlight of his AEW career was getting squashed in, like, 18 seconds by Kenny Omega. So he's never going to be anything special. I'm sorry, but he really isn't. So, Sonny Kiss, you're out. Alright, now to the women's roster. First would be Abaddon, and the reason why I say her name is because she hasn't done it. She's a great character. I feel like she could be the leader of, like, a cult group or something, like a women's cult group, or maybe she's like possessing someone or something. She's great for those like evil like spirit roles, but she's literally done nothing on she's been on Dark except for like maybe a match or two for the title. I no point in having her stick around unless you want to showcase the scariness and the like what she could be. Get her out of here. Next would be the Bunny. And the reason why I say her name is it's kind of the same as like Shawn Spears. Like for a while, she was on TV all the time. She had good character work and she was killing it. And then what? And then what happened? She's been doing nothing. So Bunny has to go. Kiera Hogan would be next. So the only reason I say it is because she's doing nothing except being a manager for Jade Cargill. Like I've like it's hard to describe with Kiera because um like she's doing great as a manager, but in terms of like, oh, being a helpful hand and then wrestling for Jade's honor and then like, a heel turn or a face turn or something or nothing. They're not even like showcasing the fact that she's there, it feels like. So Kiera Hogan also has to go. Leva Bates would be next, and it's the same exact reason as Peter Avalon. Let's just be honest. So, Leva, you're out of here. Mercedes Martinez would be next. The reason why I say it is because even like her quote unquote big moments in AEW have not been meaningful at all. Like when she unified the Ring of Honor World Women's Championship against Deonna Purrazzo, of all people, on Dynamite. Like it wasn't even that good of a match, number one. It was decent. And like she hasn't defended the Ring of Honor Women's Championship. She like she hasn't done anything meaningful. So in my opinion, unless they're gonna showcase her better, there's no point in keeping her. Next would be Paige VanZant. The only reason I say this is because they were hyping up Paige VanZant's AEW debut so much. At Double or Nothing, Paige VanZant's going to make her in-ring debut. And then what happened? She hasn't been on TV since Double or Nothing. She just went back to fighting. And she's still under contract. What's the point? If she just wanted to do a one-off thing, what's the point of signing her to a full-time contract? She's not doing anything. Get her out of here. Next would be Rebel. And the reason why I say Rebel is because she is like she's the makeup artist, the hair and makeup artist for the company, right? So she only gets on TV just so Britt Baker can be handed a tag team loss. So there's no point in having her on a wrestling contract. If you want to keep her as a hair and makeup artist, sure, have that contract written up for her. But there's no point in keeping her on the wrestler payroll if she's not doing anything. Like she's doing great as a manager. In terms of an actual wrestler, she's not doing anything. Alright, guys, the last three women's wrestlers would be, and wrestlers overall, would be Emi Sakura, Riho, and Yuka Sakazaki. And the only reason I say them is because they're only in America for a short amount of time. Like, Riho was the first women's champion, and then, she defended it, but then after she lost the title, she basically just went back to Japan for a year. Yuka Sakazaki had a huge win over Britt Baker on Dynamite, and then she went back to Japan. And Misakura has like never been on TV. She's had like one TV appearance, and they haven't showcased her in any way, shape, or form except for the title match with Riho in 2019. That was 3 years ago. She has barely done anything since then. So those three, I would release them all if they're just going to be in Japan half the time for their contract. So that's all I gotta say. So let me know your thoughts and let me know who you would release from the AW roster in the comments. And I hope you guys enjoyed. Smash the like button, please subscribe to follow me on all my social medias, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.